Hey, this is Judge Waits bringing you some hardcore team deathmatch on the map Slums. I'm not going to be talking about this gameplay at all. Instead, I wanted to talk to you today about video games, violent video games, Christians in video games, and all sorts of things around that topic. Now, sometimes I get kids that will send me messages saying, hey, will you talk to my parents and tell them that I should be okay to play video games and everything like that? No, I will not do that. But I thought in this video I would kind of explain some things about video games, so maybe you can show your parents, or maybe this can lead to a discussion that you have with your parents on this topic. You know, I never want to go against your parents because they know what's best for you, bottom line. So I'm going to always side with them. But let's get into this topic. Now, I was watching Duck Dynasty. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but great show. Love it. But there's this older guy on it. His name is Phil. He's the father or the grandfather, the one who started Duck Dynasty, the company, or Duck Commander, Buck Commander, whatever you want to call it. But in one episode, he comes downstairs and he sees his grandkids both on the Xbox and they're playing some video game. I don't know what it is or anything like that, but he's just like, what are these kids doing? You know, later on, he even asks them, you know, why do you play video games? What do you like so much? It just looks like you're staring at a box, twiddling your thumbs. And to be honest with you, that's probably what it does look like. But if I were to explain it to him, I got to watch another episode where he was watching TV, and come to find out he's a big fan of the Jason Bourne movies, which I like too. But I probably would have tried to explain it to him, you know, like, hey Phil, you know how you like the Jason Bourne movies, you know how you like watching them. Well, what if you got to actually play and participate in those movies and play the role of Jason Bourne? I mean, we get to be the hero of shows. We get to do things that we wouldn't normally be able to do. So if you're a parent trying to figure this whole thing out, just think about this. You know, is there a TV show that you really like? Or do you like watching sporting events on TV? Well, what if instead of just watching those things on TV, what if you actually got to pretend you were playing those things or play a role in that? You know, that's what we get to do, and that's why we find this so interesting and so entertaining. Now, to the question of should I be playing violent video games or should I let my kids play this game or other games, you really have to look at each individual game and see what you are doing in that. What does the content, what is it promoting? A lot of people have issues, or I should say a lot of Christians have issues because Call of Duty has people killing other people, and they'll say, well, this violates one of the 10 commandments that says thou shalt not murder. Well, it really doesn't. A lot of people like to make that commandment black and white, and it's really not. Say somebody breaks into my household and I'm defending my family and I end up killing that person. I don't believe I've sinned. In the same way, say, you know, some soldiers are protecting their country, or some soldiers are protecting, you know, another country that's being attacked. You know, I think those are justifiable reasons to go to war. And so, you know, in turn, I don't believe people are sinning or soldiers are sinning when they do that. You know, God gives a lot of authority to governments to declare war and do things like that. And that's why those things aren't a sin. Whereas, you know, if I kill somebody because I want their Xbox or something like that, you know, that is violating that commandment. So that's why I'm personally okay with playing video games like Call of Duty, you know, because these are two armies or two soldier groups going at each other. Now, there are other video games, though, that where you just run around killing innocent people. There's no way I would let my kids play that. There's no way I would play those types of games. So I really think that you have to look at the content. Now, with saying all that, say you're a parent and you look at this game and you're like, man, there's just too much violence in this game. My kid isn't ready. Man, you are the best judge of whether or not your kids are ready. So I would never argue or tell you to let your kids play this. You know best for your kids, and I totally respect that. Now, moving on to something that I'm sure all of us hear in the news, you know, we constantly, anytime there's a school shooting or anytime somebody kills somebody, especially a teenager, they always love to point to video games and blame them. You know, I can honestly say I've been playing video games, violent video games, since I was a kid. You know, when I was even a little kid, I watched Tom and Jerry. You know, I never had the urge to drop an anvil on somebody else's head. You know, I personally have never had the urge to just go out on a rampage and just start killing people. So there has to be something else that's involved, because I've talked to a lot of people that have played video games like this, and nobody has, that I've talked to, these urges to just go around killing people and do stuff like that. So there's got to be something else going on. You know, I think a bigger issue is, you know, parents just checking out of their kids' relationships and just letting media totally raise their kids without adding any filters to what they're experiencing. You know, let's do all that we can to watch what comes into their lives, but let's understand that we're not going to be able to filter everything that comes into their lives. So we have to watch what's coming in and talk to our kids about that and kind of explain some things. Hey, we shouldn't be doing this sort of thing. You know, you see this person doing that, that's totally unacceptable behavior, and tell them why. You know, I think if we provide a filter that way, that will help them out as well. Now, I wanted to finish this video talking about my biggest concern for Christians and non-Christians when it comes to video games, and that is, because video games are so fun to play, they can actually consume your lives. You can find yourself spending way too much time playing video games that you miss out on reality, that you miss out on life. I've seen kids' records, like I've gone into Call of Duty and looked at how long kids have been playing, and I've seen kids come home and play from like 3 p.m. to 2 a.m. non-stop straight. I'll see logs of games. We cannot do that. Even adults, I've seen adults do that. I've been tempted to do that. You just get so wrapped up in this, it just becomes a priority over everything. So, there has to be moderation. That's why I did that other video about priorities and balancing things, because good things can become bad things when we allow them to. So parents, monitor what your kids are doing. And I want to encourage you, I'm going to say something really controversial that kids are going to hate me for, but parents, take your kids' TVs out of their rooms, take the video consoles out of the rooms, even be careful with computers in your kids' rooms. It just divides us as a family. Instead, have that one TV that you all gather around and all watch TV together. That way you can provide input with what they're seeing, and that way you can play some video games with them and do something together with them, because video games, yeah, they can separate us, but they also can bring us together, and they can do some cool things. They can teach us about teamwork and about sportsmanship and about competition and about strategies. And even beyond things like this, I personally have had the opportunity to make friends with people from around the world. I've had the opportunity to share my faith with people and lead them to Christ, people that I wouldn't normally have come into contact, but because of video games, I've had that opportunity. But I hope this video actually gives you some insight, maybe if you're not a person that plays video games, into what we love about them and the good things that can come about them. I hope you're careful, though, and watch what is going into your kid's life. I believe garbage in, garbage out. I think we have to be very careful about content. I think we have to be very careful that we don't let video games consume us. And that's a message to everybody, whether you're a non-Christian or Christian. Don't let video games, something that is not real, get in the way of things that are real, like relationships and jobs and school and everything like that. But hope you like this video. If you got any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. Feel free to disagree with me about anything. But as always, guys, take care and God bless.